One thing I got to say real quick is no one taught me about that mind chart. I think I could use it. I think on the way in I told somebody I'd rather jump out of a jet at night. But I congratulate all these guys. I can identify with them. My questions to the graduates today is what brought you here? How did you arrive at this point in your life? What is the reason for your success? Hard work? Yes. Never give up attitude? Yes. Pure luck? No. But maybe lucky enough to realize the opportunities in the people that surround us every day. People in your life make the difference, absolutely. Friends and family, for sure. But I believe mentorship is the key to our success. When asked to speak at your commencement, I knew I wasn't going to be speaking to 22-year-old graduates going out into the workforce for the first time. Instead, I would be speaking to an experienced group of 37 graduates ranging in ages from 25 to 45. Most of you have juggled jobs, families, while carrying a full course load. You have all been tested. Graduates today include natives of Italy, Ecuador, Egypt, and Jamaica, to name a few. There are 3 veterans graduating today. Thank you for your service. I understand one of them was called away to duty. It is also noteworthy to mention that many of you have already changed jobs or received promotions as a result of your Muhlenberg education. Some of your employers include banks, hospitals, medical practices, manufacturing companies, distribution centers, nonprofit agencies, colleges, and the hospitality industry. Now, there are some 12.5 million 20-somethings with college credit and no credentials. You are not part of these statistics. You are now better prepared for your continued journey. Muhlenberg College had a huge impact on my life. As a result, I might influence my children. My sons have attended Muhlenberg College, all graduates. My daughter's a sophomore here now. My wife, Rita, and I truly believe Muhlenberg College is one of the best academic institutions in the country. And I'm gonna reach out for an old quote. You know, it's expensive here. There's a quote, invest in knowledge. It always pays the best interest. Ben Franklin. Now I can relate to some of you older graduates today. Gina, don't worry about it. I wasn't college material after high school. So I enlisted in the Navy at age 17. Little did I know my life would take many turns. My early years in the military provided me with the guidance and some incredibly very strong mentorship I needed. In high school, I really was that 5-foot, 80-pound guy who didn't play any sports. I was a poor student, but I was the first person in my family to graduate from high school since my grandparents came to the United States from Austria-Hungary. A picture of their ship hangs in my office as a reminder to me that anything is possible in this great country. Education in my family wasn't stressed. My mother and father attended school to the 9th grade. Work was everything. Work ethic is the greatest thing my father taught me by his example. Like so many of you, I am a motivated, tenacious, stubborn, extremely hard-working individual with an unwillingness to quit. My road, like yours, was longer and it was filled with bumps and curves. My journey Reminds me of an old pinball machine where the ball bounces around off the bumpers and changes directions. I hope I'm okay with this. Does anybody here remember the old pinball machines? Every person I met had some influence on my trip. People guide and shape us. My early years didn't include a definite planned destination. The Navy offered me hospital corps school. I didn't know anything about it. I made it through the school with distinction. So I was granted my first request for a duty station, which was California. The first twist of events was that these were actually orders to the United States Marine Corps at Camp Pendleton. So field medical school was my next stop. Here I was introduced to PT tests and running. Surprising things happened. A year later, I was on the base championship team. 2 of my teammates were from 1st Recon, and of course we became friends. The story goes like this. Hey Fritz, we have a surprise for you. Meet us on the football field. Next thing I know, there's a CH-46 chopper landing, and these guys put me in a harness and they hooked me up underneath this helicopter. We flew all around the base, we flew over the interstate, and we got back, and they asked me, they said, would you like to join our recon unit? And of course, I accepted the invitation. There were always more surprises. One of the surprises was a grueling initiation. I think it was more like physical torture, running, push-ups, flutter kicks, obstacle course, and a long drag through the surf zone behind one of those 6x trucks. Anyhow, I survived. But there were more surprises. There were always more surprises. So on my way to becoming this high-flying, deep-diving recon ranger, I learned that when you become a member of this unit, you had to wear the Marine Corps uniform. I accepted that. That was okay. The bigger surprise was the haircut, the high and tight. So I went along with that too. I figured it'd always grow back sooner or later, someday. Well, I never stopped finding people who would influence me. I went on to Navy dive school. And then some of my recon corpsmen, the seniors in the group, persuaded me to follow their footsteps down through underwater SEAL training. I graduated in Bud's Class 87, and I was then assigned to SEAL Team 1. Now in those days, there were only 75 guys in 2 SEAL teams, in each of the SEAL teams. So I finally felt like I did something special. I was tested beyond belief. It would take all day to mention the people who mentored me and helped shape me into the person I am today. This was just the beginning. Military schools taught me that you needed to study as if your life depended on it. So I went from that 80-pound kid to a Navy SEAL, and it was all possible due to the people in my life. My next step was my biggest challenge, which was a formal college education. With low SAT scores and high school transcripts ranking me all the way at the bottom, how would I get into college? So now, Muhlenberg story. My first reserve commanding officer was, God rest his soul, Dr. Staley, who was a chemistry professor here at Muhlenberg. And of course, he told me all about this great school. The problem was getting accepted. Around the same time, I met Dean Dale LeCount. I kind of helped him out with his running, and he gave me free advice. He said to me, keep doing what you're doing, which was attending community college. Well, I made a decision that Muhlenberg was going to be my college choice, one way or another. After 1 year of community college and the highest average in the school, I found myself in the Muhlenberg admission office for the 3rd time. Again, I was told, keep doing what you're doing. So what happened next? I told the dean I was not going to leave his office until I was accepted that day. He looked at me in surprise. He said, stay here. I told him I plan on it. After what seemed to be the longest wait of my life, he returned with a smile and told me what I wanted to hear. He said, you're in. At first, I didn't believe it, but it was true. Anyhow, I wanted to emphasize two important parts for you to carry forward. First, you can do anything in life. I recently heard an old SEAL give a young man advice. He said, "You can make it through training if you just do one thing." This is real provocative. Just don't quit. I have heard so many angles on this point. Follow your dreams, never give up. Bottom line, like Nike says, just do it. Most important, number two, welcome and treasure the people who influence you along the way. This is my pinball theory. We are who we are because of the people we meet along the journey. Remember, everyone we meet is an expert at something. Pay attention along your trip. Listen to the people around you. Take advantage of mentoring and realize that you too will be a mentor for those that follow. Mentorship is one of the greatest gifts. It changes lives. So I chose an acronym for today, fitting as it may be, MULE, M-U-L-E. We're all mules now. M is for mentoring. I believe good mentors are the important factor for anyone's success. I learned from the very best in the military. I was also blessed to have the best mentors here at Muhlenberg. This last year has been a year of reflection. I did a lot of thinking back over my experiences. After a long conversation with several of my teammates at a recent reunion, we pinpointed the one thing that made the difference in our lives: the gift of intense mentorship. Our mentors taught us that nothing is impossible. We were taught to never, ever give up. Believe in oneself is critical for SEAL training. This training was intense. Nothing was ever good enough in the teams because everything could be done better. The object was to drive everyone to be the very best. This philosophy, of course, has got me into trouble with my kids who felt that nothing was ever good enough. My goal was to make them strong and help them reach their fullest potential. Mentorship is something you can give that will never be forgotten. You become a life changer through mentorship. The U in MULE is for unity. Unite and bring people together. Find commonality regardless of how diverse people happen to be. Learn more about people. I was fortunate to travel the world to meet people. I believe people are inherently good. We all want the same basic things in life: food, shelter, safety, along with opportunity and freedom. L, listen. Listen to people and you will learn. Every person is an expert at something. Everyone has a story to tell. Dale Carnegie preaches that if you are genuinely interested in people, they will be interested in you. Zig Ziglar said that you can have everything in life you want if you just help other people get what they want. Finally, E. E is for exceeding expectations. Exceed all expectations, including your own. The human potential is never maxed out. There is always more left. Few of us meet our absolute limit. My best recollection of exceeding my expectations was in SEAL training during the long 5.6-mile swim at St. Clemente Island. I had a problem. I was a thin 150-pound guy, 6 foot, and I had more than a few bouts with hypothermia. I thought my instructors looked at this as a weakness, and of course they remedied a solution by changing my swim buddy to the slowest swimmer in the class. Needless to say, I had some horrific cold water experiences leading up to the long swim. We broke several Red Cross records for exposure times. We should have been unconscious. So here we are, we're on the long pier. It's dark. The instructors are there, they have their shotguns, they're talking about the sharks and what we're supposed to do when we meet them, and we believed them. So that was at that point, I think, looking back, I was just, you know the old saying, I was just too dumb to know any better. Anyhow, I really truly thought this was my last swim ever. Hey, bottom line, I finished the swim. Lesson learned, don't set limitations on yourself. Never give up. If knocked down, always get up. Exceed your own expectations and surprise those around you. Lastly, most important, remember to share your experience. Put yourself out there for others to follow in your footsteps. Be a mentor, help others realize their potential. Be a life changer. Thank you all for listening. I wish you great success in your continued journey. And I feel you guys, man. Congratulations to all the graduates.